welcome to Charts and Hearts. I'm Sarah, and she's Lindsay.
And together we're working our way through an epic list of rom-coms in order to find and categorize tropes in the hopes of creating the nerdiest spreadsheet podcasts have ever seen.
Oh, and this week we are doing the 2000 film Where the Heart Is. Oh man, this movie is really good, and I'd forgotten.
It is.
I knew the vibes of the movie, but I'd forgotten the actual plot. And apologies, because it is 100% not a comedy. Although there are some funny bits, and it is romantic. Mm-hmm. But also it's more just about women than...
Yeah, it's like a women's
romance
fiction movie.
Yes. Yeah. And I learned that it's based on a book, which I didn't know until...
Yeah, which, when I was watching it yesterday, I was like, this is a book, right? And now I can't remember if I had read it after watching it a bunch, but nothing is springing to mind, so who knows?
I definitely have not read it. Yeah. And apparently there's some pretty not major differences, so yeah. So this is a movie starring Natalie Portman, which is why it's in
Star Wars month.
And yeah, she plays a young, maybe late teens,
something like that.
Yeah,
maybe very early 20s.
Somewhere between 18 and 21 would be my guess. Girl who's pregnant and living in a trailer park, and she's going with her boyfriend, the father of the baby, and they're supposed to be going to California, and he abandons her with $5 and no shoes in a Walmart in the middle of somewhere, Oklahoma, I think. And then this is about her life and how she manages to build a life for herself and for her daughter. And I remember, I thought there was way more of her living in Walmart, because I think that's the really memorable,
that's the thing that they
part of it.
Talk about a lot.
But it's really only 6 weeks or so of her life, and I don't know, 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, it's one of those things, and I definitely must have had a trailer for it on a DVD, because I watched the trailer. Even I watched this movie a lot. We had the DVD, and I don't know why we watched it so much. It's good, but it's not
and there's some
uplifting.
It's kind of upsetting.
There's some really dark parts.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I remember watching the trailer, and they were spinning it as this whole women's full of amazing women actors, and kept showing Sally Field and Joan Cusack, who were in it for 3 seconds.
Yeah, well, and apparently Joan Cusack was taken out of the TV, the edited down for TV version, which makes sense.
It's just weird.
The whole storyline of her ex-boyfriend who abandoned her, he ends up having a country music career, and Joan Cusack is his manager, and that whole thing, and it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter at all. It's important that he's there at the end so she can realize that she loves 40. But I'm that's weird. That's a weird...
It's just weird. It's I feel like it was more important in the book, and then to make it a movie, they cut it out, and then they cut out so much of it. And then Sally Field is in it for a minute and a half as her mom, and then never comes back. Yeah. And then but Stockard Channing is amazing.
Amazing.
And, Naomi Judd is also fantastic. Ashley Judd is fantastic.
Yeah. The women in this are great. It's just it was just a weird way to market it. It's trailer lies of Sally Field is not in this movie.
No, Sally Field is 1% maybe. Yeah. And yes, it's important that her mom is super flaky and doesn't even remember the name of the guy that she abandoned her child to go be with.
Yeah.
But other than that, has, she clearly has no impact on Novaly's life, because she's left her so long ago. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's just go through our observations, I guess. I mean, the plot is the plot. Lots of stuff happens, plotty things happen, but really it's just she lives her life, her daughter grows up, this guy Forney that is this sort of the local smart guy, which I guess we will talk about in our trope section, is her best friend, and then he falls in love with her, and she's oh, he's gonna leave me because he's too good for me in this place, blah blah blah. And then she admits her lie, and then they fall in love and get married, and like that's
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So,
yeah, it's a lot of like vignettes of
it is very vignette
things in her life. Yeah.
Yeah, and like it seems like they sort of jump through her daughter's life, like so, and it's like it's cool that the age of the kid is kind of used, and also there's this tree that grows, so like at a glance you can sort of tell time has passed. Yeah,
it's a good storytelling.
Cool. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so observations. So living in the Walmart, which I feel probably maybe happened or something, like there's a reason this story got written.
Yeah, exactly.
But I didn't do any research.
Mm-hmm.
But I just like, I don't know, I worked in a not retail but a place where I served people that I recognized in multiple different places, and also I've watched a lot of Superstore, and the staff would know.
Yeah. Or
they
like
would figure it out.
Yeah, that especially because she was there like every day. I mean, she wasn't inside all day. She would go outside and whatever. But like, yeah, this pregnant lady is like loitering around the store every day,
and she still has like this tree with her for a big chunk of it. And
exactly.
Stuff. Like, yeah.
Yeah. So that was a bit weird. And then it's the middle of the night, and she goes into labor, and then Forney breaks in. Who she'd met Forney because he his sister was the librarian, so he was living and working at the library. Which again, that was like a weird storyline, but I guess there had to be some reason for him to like choose to leave town, and like for her to think that he wouldn't bother, like, because once his sister passes, he has no ties to the town other than her, and she doesn't like have enough confidence in herself. So yeah,
I was trying to figure it out this time. They're like, so they're from New England, and so she goes back to Barry in the family plot, but I don't know why they were there in Oklahoma at all. Like he went there to take care of his sister. Yeah, so he's there to take care of his sister, and it seems like, you know, she probably, because of her illness and whatever, wasn't able to get like, you know, had to kind of take whatever librarian job she could get. Maybe that was what I thought. Yeah, I don't know. Like I was just trying to figure it out. It was a little bit weird, and just like the way that he talked about going back to school to visit his professors. I was like, you were an undergrad for 2 years, maybe? Yeah, and now it's been 9 more years. There's like, your professors don't know who you are. Yeah, that was a bit odd. Like I could see like his friends or other like people, but yeah, it was a bit strange. Yeah, that whole thing was a bit weird. Like, but yeah, and then there's this whole thing of like, his college, because it was like a fancy college, like real college, is treated as a very like prestigious foreign thing. But then they have Lexi, Ashley Judd's character, who like is a nurse, so presumably has some level of education. Like even if she's not like an RN, she has some kind of education, and like it's a skilled job, but it's treated, because she doesn't have as much education, it's like a lesser thing. And it's weird, and like 4 kids, and which. Wouldn't she have to be an RN to work in the baby ward? Forgot the word. No, because there's like there's like registered nurses. I guess so. Yeah. Like, yeah. I don't know enough about nurses, but still, like it's you think about like, so Forney had 2 years of general undergrad, probably. Yeah. Ish, and he's treated fancier than Lexi, who has a nursing degree, diploma, something. Yeah, and like has worked as a nurse for multiple years. Yeah. It's just like, it's very strange. And I think this is the first time that hit me. Like, Novalee was like, he went to college, like to Lexi, and Lexi's like, oh yeah, he's so fancy. I'm like, Lexi somewhere has post-secondary education. She graduated high school, which I think is more than Novalee did. Yeah, for sure. So it's just, it's a very strange thing that I think is, the more I think about it, is a little bit forced into this. And maybe it's a thing, like, I don't know, where obviously we don't live in the south of America, of like people from New England versus people in Oklahoma, like that dichotomy of like, maybe I think it's shorthand for that, with like that without saying that. Yeah. Okay, so on the topic of Forney, he has the best curly hair. I know. And then I was like, who is he? He looks so familiar. And then I looked it up, and he plays Sarek, who's Spock's dad in all the new like Star Trek Discovery, and it's hilarious because like in that role he has very straight hair because Vulcans, and also is like
so serious, whereas Forney's like so like smiley and
yeah,
it was so funny. And then also Ashley Judd was in a few episodes of TNG, so it's also Star Trek month because it's always Star Trek month in my heart.
Well, because Forney was also in a couple episodes of Fringe that we just watched. But I don't know what else. Like, this was 2000, Fringe was 2010, and now there's this. So I don't. So what he was doing.
He's kind of like a generic like character-y actor.
Yeah, I feel like he'd be really good on like a SVU.
Oh, I'm sure he's done all
kind of thing.
Of
I'm sure he's like worn a suit and done things.
Speaking
of your Stars Trek and Wars, this did come out in 2000. So when they were filming in the Wilmer, they had to take all the episode 1 merch out because it would be a little jarring. Would be
a little bit weird, and there would have been a lot, I'm assuming, because
like, why are you on a lunchbox and also pregnant in this Walmart?
Right. Yep. And then this movie just has so many children in it. It's like crazy. So there's Novaly's daughter, Americus, and then like Novaly is basically a child, and then Lexi has 4 kids. Right?
Yeah, and then ends up, and then, I think, is pregnant with her 6th by the time the movie's over.
Yeah. So she's has 2 more, and then also marries a guy who has 2 kids. Yeah. So like, and then there's just other occasional characters around and stuff. Yeah. It's just like, oh my gosh, crazy. And also especially with like the current political climate of like birth control and etc. And like sex education, and I'm like, oh, this
I know, because, and that's like Lexi's a nurse.
No, and it's not that she wouldn't. It's like it's not that she doesn't know about it; it's that she doesn't have access to it.
That's true.
And then also, like, she loses her apartment because she gets injured by her like super terrible. I don't want to say boyfriend. This like creep that abuses her and her children. But she's out of sick leave. Probably had to use it up for all of her babies,
for children. Yeah.
So
so she loses her job and her apartment.
The convenience that a lack of birth control keeps women financially disadvantaged. Convenience or like perk or feature or bug. Yep.
Yeah.
And then I know we talked about it at the beginning, but just Stockard Channing is fantastic in this movie.
She's so amazing.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't know, it's just a character that you don't really see that often. Yeah, it's just she's like a rich character for being a supporting character. And and she, again, it's 2000, she was filming it at the same time as she was it was like
kicking POTUS's ass.
In West Wing, but it's like so different than
I know
that character. And like with her like sort of crazy long hair and fantastic.
Amazing.
Fantastic. Oh, and then there's other kids because like they live in like a motorhome, or not a motorhome, like a trailer park basically. So then like when they go to the storm shelter, there's like other kids. Even more kids. Just
there's a lot. It's a lot of like even with Lexi and stuff, it's a lot of like this is our culture is like you have kids young, you have a lot of kids, and you're poor. Like
for sure. Did you have any other observations?
I don't think so. It was just again, like I really like this movie.
And for not being a rom-com, it still has a lot of rom-com.
Like I was super into Forney when I was young.
Oh my gosh. Yep. And like it's weird to be into Sarek because it's like he's such a weird character, but he's very charming in that role. So it works for me.
Excellent.
So good. Okay, so speaking of tropes, let's talk about some tropes.
So super sleazy boyfriend. Man. This is not the boyfriend is so bad, why are you with him throughout the movie? Like he leaves pretty early on, but still like dude.
And this thing is full of terrible men. Which is kind of the point. Actually I saw this interesting I was listening to this interesting interview, and it was about like the importance of having like childhood platonic friends of different genders, because then you like get to know like women as people rather than as objects of affection and desire, etc. So it's like, oh, I wonder if there's like some different cultural. I mean, obviously now it's like even it's not just like specific to any one region, but they were making it seem like it was like, oh, men from the north are more cultured and better with women, and men from the south are terrible. Yeah. Although there were like some good ones, like the older guys were.
Yeah, the photographer guy was great, and Mr. Sprock.
Which is funny when it's like Sarek's.
Yeah. But it's just like they're so cute, and they like sit at the kitchen table to pray, and they're both holding the baby's hand. And I'm like, that's adorable.
Yeah,
they're just and she's so chill about her Christianity. Stalker.
Yeah.
In this, and she's just like, the word of God's been here this whole time, bitches.
Yeah, like, exactly. Like has no patience for the like sort of the crazy pretentious, people. Uppity Christian people. Yeah, the judgy ones. She's just like
she's doing like the thing that you're supposed to do and taking in people who need help.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. We lost the thread on our track.
Lost the track there. Yeah. Okay. So this one I noticed. The next one is because I also watched. It was in Ghosted, which is a terrible movie. But it was in that as well this weekend, which is romantic hand-holding shot during sex. You know the one. Yeah, where it's just their hands and their fingers are intertwining.
Yeah.
And that's so you know. So even though they're having unmarried sex, sex out of wedlock, they are making love.
Yes. Yeah,
so it is okay.
Yes, exactly. It is. It's very consensual, and everybody's into it, and it's great.
And it's because they love each other.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's fine.
Yeah. There's a little judgment there, but
yeah.
Okay, so I don't really know how to explain this one, but it's like that whole like lying to protect somebody that you love by saying that you don't love them to like set them free because you think they're too good for you.
Yeah, so I think it's like it's like this is a little bit wrong side of the tracks, but not in a Johnny Castle way, in a classist way.
Yeah.
And then also like her not believing her in her own worth and not believing in his love for her and being like, no, you'll be better off doing this, which is definitely a trope we've had. I think it's in High School Musical 3.
Yep.
Which we haven't talked about yet, but stuff like that of like, no, you should go take that scholarship or blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Like, setting somebody free by lying to them rather than letting them make their own choices. And then we have The Great Best Friend.
Yeah.
Because this movie is really about female characters. That's really good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then a big trip to get your love back, to do your big declaration. She drove from Oklahoma to New England.
Yeah, which is far.
I don't know
enough.
She's like, I went to Tennessee first, and I was like, isn't that backwards? I don't know.
Couldn't tell you.
Nope.
Apologies for my lack of geography.
You don't know where we live either.
Exactly. And then there's like two cheesy weddings, but one in particular, like the cheesy sort of jump cut to a cheesy wedding. And in this one, it's like in the back of the Walmart, and it's kind of in a dumb spot because it's just like bolted onto the end. And also like logistically in a dumb spot. Like, yes, I know Walmart's important to their story, but like, come on. She has like this little piece of land, and
I know, and so she's like, they got married, and it's at like her daughter's 5, so it's been 5 years since she lived in the Walmart. She's been working at a Walmart this entire time. It's not the same Walmart because that one was destroyed by the hurricane. So they're just getting married in a random Walmart, and I'm like, oh,
yeah,
you guys.
I mean, like, maybe Walmart paid for the wedding.
Maybe, yeah. But it was in that case, kind of
get your free wedding.
But yeah, I'm like, you have land. You spend most of this movie wishing like and talking about how you wanted like finer things, like not a lot of like not over the top kind of things, but like
actually fancy, just like
but like
a house without wheels on it. It was basically her big dream. Yeah,
and she has that and a yard, and like if Lexi could have a wedding in a barn, then why couldn't she? Yeah, it was very it was just kind of like I had forgotten about it, and I was like, ugh.
It was like, oh, this was done for the movie visual. Like circularness. Yep. And then the whole barefoot and pregnant, which I'm pretty sure we saw in Waitress. And I'm sure we will see many more times.
Yeah. Okay, so female forward movie, Bechdel test.
Yes.
A+.
Strong pass. They do talk a lot about their relationships as well, but they also talk about their hopes and dreams and everything.
Their jobs.
Yeah, their jobs and
yeah, a lot of hopes and dreams. Yeah, like it's
like building houses and making cakes and all kinds of stuff. Yeah. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, pie time.
Pie time. This was supposed to be that, obviously.
Okay. The number 5 features very heavily in this. She is sort of pathologically afraid of the number 5. Like, there's lots of coincidentally bad things that happen associated with the number 5. So I feel like we should give this 55%, but that might be too high.
No, I was thinking that also. I think we should do it. It's important.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of those things of like, if you didn't have a bad luck number, you never would have associated these things with things.
It's that like confirmation or like observer bias, confirmation bias, like, yeah. And like all these bad things that happen to her can be associated to the number 5, but like they're not necessarily associated to the number 5. Okay. Oh, Forney being so swoon worthy and such a like, yeah, he's just a good guy.
He's a good guy. He's so good with the daughter.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like he doesn't go for her like at all. Like he wouldn't have instigated it at all. Yeah. So, I don't know. 25?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fornicating on the Formica, which I just realized.
You just yeah.
Yep.
Stockard Channing and Mr. Sprock do a lot of
sex
off camera and then asking God for forgiveness, fornicating on the kitchen table, which is even more funnier when there's a baby.
Yeah, and like
a person that's not related to them in the
praying
house.
at the kitchen table. Also,
yeah,
like 10.
Yeah, I think like it's adorable and like makes them human and also yeah. And again, it's a good shortcut of them like they're living in sin.
Yeah.
They're practicing Christians and they're good people. Like, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, like it's not like she's not just taking in Novalee to like save her and like protect her baby from the sinful life. Like she's taking her in because she needs a home and her baby needs a place to live and she needs some security in her life. Yeah. So yeah, it's like that non-judgy, but also like doing it without having to like tell us that she's not judgmental.
Exactly.
Okay, and that leaves us with 10%?
10, yeah.
10% Walmart.
10% Walmart. Yes, features heavily at the beginning, but
and the very, very end.
And the very, very end.
Yeah. But also like there's lots of things that happen in her life because of the Walmart that like keep trickling down. Like her mom finds her because she's featured on the news and her mom leaves because she gives her the money that she got from Walmart and
Walmart gives her a job and
like Walmart gives her a job and that stability that she needs to like stay in this town that with all these people that she met. Yeah. Okay. What do you think is next for them?
So like I think that they were best friends first, so I think that in theory they have a good relationship ahead of them, but they did not figure out his education complication.
No.
He went back to school for like 3 months.
Yeah.
And so and I don't know enough. I'm like
I don't know how much time he would have left, but like if they could do the long distance thing, or also there are universities in Oklahoma.
That's like, what I was gonna say. I was like, can he just go live in Oklahoma City or whatever it's called,
like Tulsa or somewhere?
Yeah, wherever it's closest.
Yeah, or
because
like,
then it's long distance, but not actually like 45 minutes or something.
Yeah, and then he, she said that he wanted to be a history teacher, and I think he would be a really good one. Like he's really good with kids, like, and like any decent sized town needs teachers, so. Yeah,
exactly.
So
I think
it would be a short term, like long distance if necessary.
Yeah, so I think if they can sort that out, then I think it would be fine. I think they would have a good relationship.
Indeed.
I just want to say, just thinking about him at the school and like that there's a girl flirting with him, and I'm like, he's 29 now and she's 19. This flirty girl.
It's a little,
I'm just no.
But like they were. I mean, he wasn't. I mean, we only saw him for like 5 minutes, but like they were flirting with him, not the other way around.
I know. Yeah. But I was just like, girl, like, calm down.
Yeah, no kidding.
This kid has like so much more baggage, like half of your lifetime's more worth of baggage.
Yeah, exactly. And like actual baggage, like, you know, he gave up his whole life to look after his
alcoholic sister.
Yeah. Yep.
Anyway, he's very dreamy.
Yes, so dreamy and just a really good character. Lindsay, what's next for us?
Speaking of dreamy, we're going to take a hard turn into much more calm.
Yes.
And a lot more rom and swooniness. Well, we switch to the Ewan part of our Star Wars month and do Down with Love. Hooray! Yay. Oh my god, I haven't watched it in so long.
I know.
So good.
So good. Okay, that brings us to the end of this episode. Don't forget that you can leave us a rating and a review wherever you get your podcasts, and you can find us on social media. We're at Charts and Hearts Podcast on Instagram and Facebook, and at Charts and Hearts on Twitter.
You can also find us on our website at chartsandhearts.com, where you can submit your suggestions for rom-coms and tropes for us to add to the list. And you can check out our Patreon at patreon.com/chartsandheartsclub. And the entire reason for the season of Star Wars month is Ewan and Natalie, and Hayden is there, and old Yoda.
Oh my gosh. Yep.
And yeah, so we're doing episode 2 for Star Wars month. The rom-com of the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, the rom-comiest Star Wars.
So that will be an adventure. Join us as we talk about it and ask ourselves, why did we do this?
Indeed.
And let us know your thoughts on this movie, and tell us if you read the book, because in the book the number she's afraid of is 7, and that seems like a really weird thing to change.
Yeah, unless they had to change the timeline, and so then the 5th birthday, like the 7th birthday, had to be the 5th birthday.
Oh yeah, I guess so. That must be the reason, something like that. And I guess if she was going to be kidnapped at Christmas, she would have to be 5 months old.
Yeah.
So, okay, that makes sense. But still, it would have... Anyway, doesn't matter. Let us know your thoughts on this movie. And in the meantime, all the pricks moved to California. They should name it Prickifornia.